Hey, it's me, Mr. Wells. Um, we're going to be reading from Murder on the Orient Express today, and let's see where we're at here. Okay, so we're getting ready to start Chapter 5 of Part 2 of Murder on the Orient Express. Make sure you're filling out your sheets, ELA students, so that you get credit for it later. Let's read, starting with Chapter 5, The Evidence of the Swedish Lady. Monsieur Bach was handling the button that Mrs. Hubbard had left behind her. This button, I cannot understand it. Does it mean that after all Pierre Michel is involved in some way? He asked. He paused and then continued, as Perrault did not reply. What have you to say, my friend? That button, it suggests possibilities, said Perrault thoughtfully. Let us interview next the Swedish lady before we discuss the evidence that we've heard. He sorted through the pile of passports in front of him. Ah, here we are. Greta Olson, aged 49. Monsieur Bach gave directions to the restaurant attendant, and presently the lady with the yellowish-gray bun of hair and the long, mild, sheep-like face was ushered in. She peered short-sightedly at Perrault through her glasses, but was quite calm. It transpired that she understood and spoke French, so the conversation took place in that language. Perrault first asked her the questions to which he already knew the answers, her name, age, and address. He then asked her her occupation. She was, she told him, matron in a missionary school near Stamboul. She was a trained nurse. You know, of course, of what took place last night, mademoiselle? Naturally, it is very dreadful, and the American lady tells me that the murderer was actually in her compartment. I hear, mademoiselle, that you were the last person to see the murdered man alive. I do not know. It may be so. I opened the door of his compartment by mistake. I was much ashamed. It was a most awkward mistake. You actually saw him? Yes. He was reading a book. I apologized quickly and withdrew. Did he say anything to you? A slight flush showed on the worthy lady's cheek. He laughed and said a few words. I did not quite catch them. And what did you do after that, mademoiselle? Asked Perrault, passing from the subject tactfully. I went to the American lady, Mrs. Hubbard. I asked her for some aspirin, and she gave it to me. Did she ask you whether the communicating door between her compartment and that of Mr. Ratchett was bolted? Yes. And was it? Yes. And after that? After that, I went back to my own compartment, took the aspirin, and lay down. What time was all this? When I got into bed, it was 5 minutes to 11. I know because I looked at my watch before I wound it up. Did you go to sleep quickly? Not very quickly. My head got better, but I lay awake some time. Had the rain come to a stop before you went to sleep? I do not think so. We stopped, I think, at a station just as I was getting drowsy. That would be Vinkovy. Now your compartment, mademoiselle, is this one. He indicated it on the plan. That is so, yes. You had the upper or the lower berth. The lower berth, number 10. And you had a companion? Yes, a young English lady. Very nice, very amiable. She had traveled from Baghdad. After the train left Vinkovy, did she leave the compartment? No, I am sure she did not. Why are you sure if you were asleep? I sleep very lightly. I am used to waking in a sound. I am sure if she had come down from the berth above, I should have awakened. Did you yourself leave the compartment? Not until this morning. Have you a scarlet silk kimono, mademoiselle? No, indeed. I have a good, comfortable dressing gown of Jaeger material. And the lady with you, Miss Debenham, what color is her dressing gown? A pale mauve Abba, such as you buy in the East. Perrault nodded. Then he asked in a friendly tone, Why are you taking this journey? A holiday? Yes, I'm going home for a holiday. But first I'm going to Lausanne to stay with a sister for a week or so. Perhaps you will be so amiable as to write me down the name and address of your sister. With pleasure. She took the paper and pencil he gave her and wrote down the name and address as requested. Have you ever been in America, mademoiselle? No, I very nearly went once. I was to go with an invalid lady, but the plan was canceled at the last moment. I much regretted this. They are very good, the Americans. They give much money to found schools and hospitals, and they are very practical. Do you remember hearing of the Armstrong kidnapping case? No. What was that? Perrault explained. Greta Olson was indignant. Her yellow bun of hair quivered with her emotion. That there are in the world such evil men, it tries one's faith. The poor mother, my heart aches for her. The amiable Swede departed, her kindly face flushed, her eyes suffused with tears. Perrault was writing busily on a sheet of paper. "What is it you write there, my friend?" asked Monsieur Bach. "Mon cher, it is my habit to be neat and orderly. I make here a little chronological table of events." He finished writing and passed the paper to Monsieur Bach. 9:15, train leaves Belgrade. About 9:40, valet leaves Ratchet with sleeping draught beside him. About 10, McQueen leaves Ratchet. About 10:40, Greta Olson sees Ratchet, last seen alive. N.B. He was awake, reading a book. 12:10, train leaves Vinkovy, late. 12:30, train runs into a snowdrift. 12:37, Ratchet's bell rings. Conductor answers it. Ratchet says, "Ce n'est rien, je me suis trompé." About 1:17, Mrs. Hubbard thinks man is in her carriage, rings for conductor. Monsieur Bach nodded approval. "That is very clear," he said. "There is nothing there that strikes you as at all odd?" "No, it seems all quite clear and above board. It seems quite plain that the crime was committed at 1:15. The evidence of the watch shows us that, and Mrs. Hubbard's story fits in. For my mind, I will make a guess at the identity of the murderer. I say, my friend, that it's the big Italian. He comes from America, from Chicago, and remember, an Italian's weapon is a knife, and he stabs not once, but several times." "That is true." "Without a doubt, that is the solution of the mystery. Doubtless he and this Ratchet were in this kidnapping business together. Cassetti is an Italian name. In some way, Ratchet did on him what they call the double cross. The Italian tracks him down, sends him warning letters first, and finally revenges himself upon him in a brutal way. It is all quite simple." All right, sorry about that. I had to pause the video, so now I got to remember where I left off. There is nothing there that strikes you as at all odd? No, it seems all quite clear and above board. It seems quite plain that the crime was committed at 1:15. The evidence of the watch shows us that, and Mrs. Hubbard's story fits in. For my mind, I will make a guess at the identity of the murderer. I say, my friend, that it is the big Italian. He comes from America, from Chicago, and remember, an Italian's weapon is a knife, and he stabs not once, but several times. That is true. Without a doubt, that is the solution of the mystery. Doubtless he and this Ratchet were in this kidnapping business together. Cassetti's an Italian name. In some way, Ratchet did on him what they call the double cross. The Italian tracks him down, sends him warning letters first, and finally revenges himself upon him in a brutal way. It is all quite simple. Perrault shook his head doubtfully. "It's hardly so simple as that, I fear," he murmured. "Me, I am convinced it is the truth," said Monsieur Bach, becoming more and more enamored of his theory. "And what about the valet with the toothache who swears that the Italian never left his compartment?" "That is the difficulty." Perrault twinkled. "Yes, it is annoying that. Unlucky for your theory, and extremely lucky for our Italian friend that Monsieur Ratchet's valet should have had the toothache. It will be explained," said Monsieur Bach with magnificent certainty. Perrault shook his head again. "No, it is hardly so simple as that," he murmured again. All right, don't forget to like this, hit subscribe, enable your notifications so you can see all my great ELA posts, and have a great weekend. Talk to you later. Oh, I'm repeating myself. Bye.